Well, welcome to the Pro Brick exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I want to speak to you about leadership within a relationship and how you can tell if you're not the leader as the man, which is a very dangerous place to dwell within a relationship. From my experience, women will follow. There's no two ways about it. They will follow you for the most part if they care about you, if they're interested in you, if they're attracted to you, and if they're trusting you, they will follow. But in this day and age, there's women that partially follow. They follow relative to a split life. Now, let me explain what I mean by this, because it's very important for a lot of you men. I speak to men a lot about single mothers not being single, and how they surrogate their children for mental and emotional adult supply, which they're not supposed to do. And it messes up their children and it messes up these women. It's quite evil, destructive, and unfair on all parties. But the responsibility comes back to the mother, to the single mother, parent. But this is how selfish they are. They don't care what the implications are going to be on their children and the consequences of how this will work out in their children's relationships, etc., let alone their own, etc. Now, this is what I mean by a man supposed to be the leader in a relationship in terms of healthiness, not demanding and all that. And somehow you're just not, okay? I can give you an example whereby if you're with a woman and she's split, she's not with you 100% of the time, she will let you lead her while she is with you, if you know what I mean, in terms of your values and standards. But that'll change when she goes back to where she lives and how she lives. Your standards will not mean anything to her. If she's a closet alcoholic, she'll drink alcohol. If she's a medicated person, she'll go back to her pills. If she's a weed smoker, she'll smoke a weed. And it'll be totally irrespective to what your values are or what your leadership is and how you would want her to flourish in a life. These people are quite destructive. They're determined in their destruction, and that's why they condition you to seeing you once, twice, 3 times a week. Now, I don't know what happens to these people when they find people like themselves. They must just sit there and destroy each other with their drugs and alcohol and all the other shit they take and crap they take. I don't know. I'm not interested. I've never lived that way. And I've got no intention of living that way. But what I can tell you is these people are masterminds on how they navigate themselves in and out of your life. But this is the key. And it's a very important key. They will hang themselves. And they'll hang themselves time and time again because they come from an environment where these destructive habits are a part of their domestic formation, their domestic life. And even if you say to these people, present yourself in a way in which you're going to be attractive to me, they'll do that when you say it for a week or two, and then you'll watch them diminish back into their habit and start bringing themselves under the influence of these habits into your presence, which is clear, clean, psyched up, and running on mental power. Now, these people are mindless when it comes to their addictions and all this other stuff because they've got no respect for themselves. You'll see this when they're under the impacts of this stuff. And they've got no respect for how you feel relative to the condition that they're in, should they turn up. It's actually being unequally yoked, but if you've committed yourself to one of these people, try and navigate it. You won't be able to, because they've got split differences. There's no good you trying to be a leader, because you're not. If you were the leader and they respected you, and your life is a lifestyle of athleticism and clarity of mind and constant personal growth, and these people are closet drinkers and pill takers and weed smokers, and they're coming into your presence and you're noticing they're trying to sneak in under the destruction of this stuff, and they become so self-unaware and unaware of how you feel because of their passion for the drug or whatever it is, the substance, the liquid, whatever it is, right? They lose cognitive consciousness as to how you feel. They become completely unaware. Now, if you've spoken to these people once or twice, please turn up such and such and so, and you see them improve, like, it's not up to you whether they're going to be on this stuff or not. This is what comes with the territory. But what you'll find is, if they're going backward and forward, they're living one life without you and another life with you, you're not the leader of the relationship. Therefore, whatever happens to that person is not your responsibility. They're playing the convenience card. You're a convenience. You're a asset to them only while you're with them. After that, no. They're going back to their self-destruction. So how can you be the leader of that person if they're defying you every time they go out of your presence? You're not. Now, let me tell you why I'm saying this. What will happen is situations will arise where she'll need you to fix her problems, right? Because she won't want to fix them herself, especially if there's children involved, because she's not going to want to cause conflict with the children at the expense of the relationship. Because if the relationship fails, guess who she's running to? Right? You've guessed it, the children. So she doesn't want to betray the children by demanding them to behave in a way in which puts the relationship over and above her offspring. She's not going to do that. I've seen this time and time again. These children will close in on you, and you're waiting for the mother to say something, and they just sit there mute. And the next thing, you either leave or you get engaged in an argument or something, which I won't do. There'll be no arguing with me or any nonsense like that. I'll just sooner leave and go to myself, this place is not a healthy place to be in. Now, the silly part about this is the woman always seems to want to come back, even though the children have no respect for the man at all. And these children, a lot of them are adults. My last 2 episodes have been adults, although I have seen younger children behave the same way because they're so used to getting their mother's attention to themselves. Who's this person coming along trying to take it away from me? And they're pedestalized and they're grandized and they're spoiled and they're surrogated and they're so bonded to their mother, even as young adults, they're infantile. The adults sabotage their growth, mental and emotional growth, by engaging them in adult business, which they've got no right to be in. So this woman now is expecting you to fix the attitudes and resentments of a child that they have towards you, to the point where you're not welcome at their house anymore, or whatever the case might be. The children can't stand you. All this sort of, it's common, it's happening all over the world. It's not just, this just isn't an isolated case. This is my point. I know I'm helping a lot of people. It's not your business. Listen to me, because I grew up in a family like this myself. I was one of these children for most of my life with step-parents and stepfather. In my case, where I was a young 5-year-old boy, climbing down climbing out windows at the age of 7, down drain pipes 2 stories high. I don't know how I never got killed, but I didn't, to the ground, and then running away to run the streets and things, and then coming home and getting belted and all that by the stepfather. I can remember my mother pulling off the stepfather because he was belting the absolute crap out of me. I mean, I was an out of control child. If I got out I was a harness child from the time I could walk. I was a harness child. So once I got trusted not to be in the harness, I was off. I was gone. 6, 7, running around Flemington, Burwood, Strathfield. They'd have the police looking for me. We'd be running the canals. We'd be running around the brickyard down there. I forget where it was now. Somewhere south. I know it was somewhere south of Flemington. We'd go running around the South Strathfield, actually. Chilora or somewhere. We'd go running around the brickyards, and we were, mate. How we're still alive, I don't know. How we never got washed down the canals, I'll never know. We're only kids. I remember a couple of people, thinking back, possibly could have tried to grab us, but we ran off. But point being, when you get to my age, where life's just about, you're in the last phases of your life and you want them to be peaceful and that, and these children are grown up, I don't know what an adult would think, a mother would think, how you would have any influence over these people at all. You haven't. Therefore, you're not the leader. There's no such thing, right? So if this woman's trying to demasculinize you by way of the behaviour of her adult children, don't take any notice of it. She's created those people. She's domestically allowed them to form the way they are as man-haters or whatever the problem is. And really, don't engage it. Let them people sort themselves out. They're not going to. It's the way that they are. You have to accept that it's got nothing to do with who you are or what's going. It won't matter who it is. That woman's going to have to leave the house to go and get sex or whatever she wants. She won't be able to take anyone to the house because they won't be received. And that's what a lot of these women do. They just go out to get sex because they can't have sex with their children. Everything else is sorted. They got their pets and stuff, and you'll see all this. You're really you're not as important as you think, men. You've got to realise this and accept it. Doesn't matter how hard you try, how welcoming your family is, how much you set up your place for them to have an exclusive, healthy relationship. At the end of the day, you're just part of their split life. Yeah, they'll come and submit to you while you're there, but when they go out that door, you've got no power or authority over these people, and why should you have? And you have to accept when they turn around and go, well, you didn't rah-rah. Don't. Just watch. Just watch. Because I allowed my last partner to have it her way, and she was totally unaware of what that was doing inside me. Because she was living a split life. She could not work out where she stood between her sons and her man. And the obvious thing was she's ultimately, I knew that she was with the sons. She wasn't with me. I was just a convenience. And you can kid yourself all you like. Whoever, use men and that. Don't think you're more important than what you really are. You're just a asset to that person intimately and for some company. Other than that, you are not the, leader of anything. You're not. So don't be responsible for the attitudes and behaviours of their children. It's got nothing to do with you. They'll try and project it onto you and blame shift shit onto you. It's only to keep you away from their house where they all live. Just watch. Don't attach. You've got no right to attach to these women because, you know, if you're playing your part as a good man and all the rest of it, what more can you... Don't do any more than that. Just be the supply. And when they fuck things up, and they will, if the children don't before they do, they will, unresolved will catch up with them. That's what unresolved does. Unresolved is always going to cause trouble. Unresolved is the end. When they're not willing to resolve things, just say, well, that's the end. And watch it come in on them. It will. I allowed, what, I think it was, there was a few things that happened on the way, but within the last run there, 3 months, she got cornered and with her own unresolved, and I just agreed with what she needed to have done. And then when the oppression come on me after I left, I rang and I said, no, this just isn't right for me. And it was beautiful because she said to me, well, you're the reason for the problem, which means she was harboring some kind of maternal resentment all along. Yet she was there the day that these people manifested. So you've got to understand, blood's thicker than water, and you can't be cranky about that. It just is. There's nothing, man, I'm telling you, you're not as important as you think. Don't attach, be the best man that you can, and be ready for, if unresolved starts, for the end. And if I was you, I'd call it before they do, because if you don't, a lot of these women don't know how to end things, and they'll get with somebody else so that you tell them to piss off and all other sorts of stupid behaviour, especially if they're alcohol-fueled or drug-fueled, because they're too vulnerable to really, and you'll see this by their unresolved, to be stable. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison on the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel. Bye for now.